Welcome to the Design Studios at Plazko.com. I'm Bonnie Clewans, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very interesting earring using some chain, and this is our oval link chain. We will use a 6mm crystal, some sterling silver, 24 gauge half hard wire. We'll create some dangles, and then we will use our chain as an armature for our crystal drops. Let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is take my 3-inch piece of wire. This is our 24 gauge half hard wire. I will be positioning it about 1 inch from the top and about 1/3 of the way up the nose of my pliers. Holding the wire, I will bend my wrist away from me, pull the wire over the top nose of the pliers towards me, and that creates a hook. I'm going to attach my ear wire at this time. And it's really nice to be able to build the project as you go along. That way I don't have to open a machine round ear wire. Grasping with my round nose pliers, making sure the fish hook ear wire is out of the way, I take the wire, the short side of the wire, and I start to twist around the stem of wire underneath the round nose pliers, and I wrap it 3 times. And that attaches my earring to the wire. Now I have some excess wire to cut using the flat side of my flush cut pliers, and these are cutters. I get as close as I can and turn down to my work surface so that the wire doesn't fly in my eye, and cut. There may be a small piece of wire that is still sticking out, and I will show you how to get that tucked in when we continue our project. Now I add a 6mm bicone crystal and repeat the process. I'm going to make the second loop, and this makes it a link. Anytime we have 2 loops, a bead in between, it's a link. Positioning about 1/8 of an inch above the bead, about 1/3 of the nose way up the nose of the pliers, holding on to the bead, I bend my wrist away. I take the wire, pull it towards me, and again, I've created that nice little hook. Now I'm ready to add the chain. As I said, we are using a 3-link section of oval chain. I fold the outside links down and connect the middle link. Slide that on. And now I'm ready to finish my round loop, my wire wrapped loop. Again, I position my tool this is a round nose pliers, towards the outer edge of my hook and gently wrap underneath the nose of the pliers 3 times, going down towards the bead, and that creates my second loop. Now I'm ready to trim. Again, making sure I'm as close as I can with my flush cutters, turning down and cutting the excess off. Now I have my armature. One of the things I mentioned earlier was tucking in the edge of the wire. I use a crimper tool and grasp as close as I can to the bead and just rotating it around, and that tucks that little piece of wire in, making it smooth and finished. And I repeat the process on what was the first side. So now I have a nice smooth wire link. Anytime you're working with links, you want to make sure that your loops are straight. If they're a little bit off center, you will find your project becomes lopsided. So it's always important to give it a quick touch finish to make sure that your loops are hanging in a vertical and straight line. Now we're ready to add on our dangles. As you can see on our project, we have 2 links at the bottom, and we're going to add a dangle on each link. Starting with a head pin, I pick up a 6mm crystal, and I'm going to do the wire wrapped loop again. Holding on to the crystal, bend my wrist away, pull the wire over the top nose of the pliers. Now I can attach it. And continue with my wire wrap. Using my cutter, getting that as close as I can, cutting down onto the work surface. Taking my crimper tool and crimping all around. That's my first dangle. My second dangle will consist of 2 crystals, a light sapphire and a sapphire 4mm crystal. Following the same steps, 1/3 of the way up the nose of the pliers, about 1/8 of an inch above my beads, holding onto the beads, bend my wrist away, pull the wire over the top nose, and I hook on to the other bottom link, and again wrapping around. Now we're ready to cut that excess wire from our bottom dangle. Flush cutter against the wire as close as we can get to our beads, turning down, and cut onto the work surface. Now we're ready to add our third dangle, which is going to go on the middle link. We've got our dangles at the end, and now we're going to put one on the middle. Repeating the process. Bend my wrist away, pull the wire over the top nose of the pliers, making sure that I am on the third link. And doing my wire wrap. Cutting, getting as close as I can, cutting down. And now I'm ready to do my final link. And this is a little dangle at the end. Bend my wrist away, pull the wire over the top. And for this one, I am hooking on to the bottom link which I created. Getting everything out of the way, positioning my tool diagonally across that little hook and loop that I started, and then just twisting down to my beads, using my cutter and cutting down to the surface. Now I'm going to go through and tuck in any bit of excess wire using my cutter, using my crimper tool. And making sure any of those ends are tucked in. It's really important not to crimp on the crystal because that will crack. So we need to be just above the crystal as we go around with our crimper. And here we go. We've got our 3-link oval chain and crystal earring. If you have questions about this project or any others, please contact us at DIY@Plazko.com.